Morning, all. Sorry for the minute or two delay there. I had some technical issues. My Zoom decided to do a nice update right before today's webinar. Of course, it couldn't have done it at a better time. So I do apologize for that. We do have Scott jumping on as well. So we're going to give it a minute or two here. We already have a pretty large group signed on. So thank you for joining us. But we're going to give everyone a chance to get signed on, and we're going to give Scott a second here to get set up. So again, I do apologize. Technical issue on my end. Zoom has a mind of its own. So
All right. Yep. I think I'm. Can you hear me okay, Jordan?
yes, I can.
Wonderful. All right. Are we okay to get started?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do a little spiel here and give we have about 75% of our attendees, but give the rest a
Oh,
chance
perfect.
to get on here real quick. So thank you everyone for joining us for today's webinar, Optimize Your Social Media Accounts with Scott Clanin of Clanin Marketing. Of course, as most of you know, you have been in our webinars before, but you are welcome to ask questions. We just ask that you submit those via the chat box, and we'll address them once Scott is done with his presentation. And then we will also send out a follow-up email later today, and that will include a link where you can download a copy of today's presentation, and you can view the recording of the session. So if you want to share that with someone on your team or listen to some of the information Scott shares, again, you will have access to do that. In that follow-up email, I am also, excuse me, I am also going to include links to our local partners on today's session, so you can check out all of their organizations and everything they have going on in the community as well. So at this time, I'll hand it over to Scott and we can get started.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jordan. Good morning. Thank you for joining us for our Optimize Your Social Media Accounts webinar. I'll be sharing my screen, so one moment while I pull it up. All right, Jordan, just confirm, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. All right, well, again, welcome. Today's webinar is Optimize Your Social Media Accounts in partnership with the Illinois SBDC office at Champaign County EDC and other local community partners that made today's webinar possible. Like Jordan, I also have a couple of housekeeping items. If you would like a copy of today's presentation, you can visit our website at claninmarketing.com/workshops. At the top of the page, you're going to see a list of all of our upcoming webinars, and then slightly below that, you'll see a form where you can just add in your name and email, and again, you'll get a copy of today's presentation. This is going to be a great one to download because there are a lot of slides in here. And then at the end, I do have some other helpful miscellaneous tips. I don't know if we'll have time to go through each one of those, but at least wanted to include those in the presentation for you for reference later on. At the top of our page here, this /workshops, like I mentioned, we do have a series of other free marketing webinars and workshops that we'll be presenting. Jordan and I worked on filling out and rounding out our schedule for the rest of 2024. So you're going to see a full list there on our website. Today, we're talking about optimizing your social media accounts, but I'm sure some of you have questions related to a specific platform, whether that be LinkedIn, Instagram, how to make Instagram Reels. We have separate standalone workshops and webinars this year for a variety of those platforms. So on, just as a note, on July 9th, we have one just about LinkedIn for business. Then in August, it's all about Instagram. So the beginning of August, on the 8th, we have an Instagram 101 class. August 12th, we have an Instagram 201 class. So if you're looking to optimize and really strengthen some of your Instagram strategies, great workshops for you to attend. And then in November, I would say probably our most popular workshop that we gave all year was a demonstration, and this will be held at the Champaign Public Library in downtown Champaign. This is all about crafting incredible reels, those short format TikTok-like videos for Instagram, and we're going to be going through a demonstration. So it's a really fun workshop. We did one early this year, and I think it was pretty much sold out. We had a lot of attendees for that one, so be sure to register early for that in-person workshop at the end of November. As Jordan mentioned, my name is Scott Clanin. I'm the owner of Clanin Marketing. We're a full-service marketing creative agency based in downtown Champaign, and we provide a variety of different services to our clients from website design, branding, video production, and more. But our company started in the digital marketing space. And so back in 2010, 11-ish is when I started developing plans for a company that really specialized in social media, how to utilize this brand new platform for businesses. Because at that time, social media for business was completely new. There wasn't even an option to create a Facebook business page. You had to put first name Clanin, last name marketing to set up a Facebook page, and a lot has changed since then. So it's been really fun to watch social media evolve over the years, watch how social media was used during the pandemic and how a lot of these digital marketing companies and platforms expedited a lot of really cool tools that I want to show you a couple of those today. So it's been fun watching social media evolve. But as I'm sure all of you have seen, social media is very hard to keep up with. It's becoming, I feel like, busier and busier, noisier and noisier online. And it's hard to stand out. A number of years ago, we're talking in a handful of years before the pandemic, Facebook made a large change to their algorithm, and that's how content is shown to your followers in their feed, right, on their wall. And that changed overnight. And since then, it's almost become a play-to-play platform. Well, it's free to create a social media account. If you're not going to allocate any type of funds, right, any type of marketing ad dollars to some of your strategies, you may not get in front of as many people as you want. But you don't have to pay to be successful on social media. But if you're not going to boost some posts or put a little money behind some of your content, you do have to think a little differently outside the box to create what we call thumb-stopping content. And so we're going to share with you a variety of different tips and tricks today. As with all of my workshops and webinars, and if you've been on some in the past, welcome back. But you'll know that we only have a little bit of time together, right? And so we're going to review a variety of different things. It's really tip of the iceberg. Going to show you some new things I think a lot of people have missed. Again, what are ways that we can strengthen your social media accounts? What are some things to keep in mind? Because it's not a one fix. One solution kind of fixes everything for your social media platforms. There's a variety of stuff. Creative, copy, what time of the day to post, call to actions in your copy. There's so much to that that can affect social media, and it's really trial and error. We're going to try different things, and if it doesn't work, we pivot and try something else. And that's the beauty of digital, is that you have access to metrics in real time, so you can make informed decisions. All right, so let's dive into it. This is our agenda for today. I want to first open with developing your goal. So important when you are in your social media accounts to have a goal in mind. If not, you're really going in blind, and it can be very overwhelming to decide, well, I want to run an ad, but what ad type should I run? So there's a variety of different things to keep in mind when we are thinking of goal. Account optimization essentials. Copy on content best practices. We're going to talk a little bit about stories. Again, if you are interested in specifically Reels, we have a whole standalone webinar on that. But stories are very easy to get up and running. And a lot of times we're seeing more engagement and more views in stories than we are with just actual posts on your Instagram or on your Facebook page. Photos and then ads. So what I am today, I'm going to give you a variety of different examples, right? I am kind of specifically focused a little more on Facebook and Instagram. Of course, all these still apply for LinkedIn. Of course, with LinkedIn, it's a B2B platform, a business to business platform. Where Facebook and Instagram, it's very much B2C, business to consumer. You're hopefully getting in front of someone who has purchased from you in the past, taken advantage of your product or services, or getting in front of someone who may have a potential of converting over to a customer. Where again, LinkedIn, you're talking with your business who does business with other businesses, not a business. So those are the platforms I'm really focused on today. So when you do run ads, for example, in Facebook, Instagram and Facebook are owned by the same company. So all that is managed through your Facebook Business Manager, your Facebook Ad Manager account. And again, I'll go through some examples today. But those are really the social media platforms I'm kind of referring to. But a lot of these best practices apply to really whatever social media account that you're on. All right. So let's talk about your goal, right? So you're all on the call today because you really want to work to elevate your social media strategies. What could I be doing to improve a handful of things and get in front of more people? That's really what it's all about, right? But first, let's think about your goal. Do you want to drive traffic to your website? I think this is a big goal that a lot of us have. Do you want to generate new leads or sales? For those on the call who are a roofing company, contractors. I just reached out to a contractor that had like a lead generation ad, and they collected my ad through Facebook and they called me the next day. I didn't even have to visit their website. Their goal is to generate new leads to generate quotes that then hopefully turn into business. Increase brand awareness. Maybe you're a new company in town or you're going through a rebrand. You're changing your name a little bit. This is actually going to be one of our strategies later this year in August as we launch our new brand, which is very exciting. So ours is really going to be increasing brand awareness in the community and developing strategies on social media to lean into that brand awareness. Or increase brand engagement. Maybe conversations, your likes, your comments, your shares have decreased over the year. There's not much happening. And this is really important because how the algorithm works on social media is if you decide to post something, and let's say we're not boosting it, okay, you're not putting any money behind it, you're not going to reach a whole lot of people. If you have 500 followers on your page and you just post something, not a whole lot of engagement to that post, it may be shown to 70 people, maybe 100 people, right? That's that big change I was talking about earlier. Whereas before you used to post something and 400 people, 450 people would see that piece of content without you having to put any money behind it. But if you post something now and it doesn't get a whole lot of engagement, it won't go very far. Now, if we post something like a video, let's say, and there's a lot of comments, there's a lot of likes, there's a lot of shares, and you didn't even have to put any money behind it, Facebook will actually start showing that to even more people because their algorithm is noticing, hey, there's a lot of engagement with this piece of content in a short period of time. This must be relevant to people within this area. We're going to show it more. Now, of course, they still want you to pay. So if you want to reach even more people, that's where that little boost post option comes into play. But that's what it's all about, the algorithm. So if you don't have a whole lot of money to spend on social media, that's okay. We just really need to think of what type of content do we need to be pushing out that's going to generate a lot of nice engagement. So that could be one goal of just people know our brand, but we need to spark more conversations and more engagement online. And then, of course, I forgot one here, grow online audience or your followers. I think this is everyone's goal at some point, is just kind of growing their online followers, but be careful about this. I've had a number of clients where they have purchased followers on their Instagram account just so they have like the vanity of look at all these followers we have. While it's cool, and I go to your account and be like, wow, you have 50,000 followers, does that really help you at all? Are they converting to actual sales? I would rather have 500 quality followers, people that are within my targeted audience who have a potential to utilize my product and services than 5,000 followers on my Instagram page where maybe only 10% of them will ever reach out and contact me. So again, you do want a good number of followers on your page. Of course, there's no limit by any means, but you want to make sure they're quality followers. So what are ways that you can grow your online audience? Can you run some contests? If you have a brick and mortar location, can you remind people with maybe some signage with a QR code? Hey, follow us on Instagram. Check out this for weekly specials. You want to make sure you're consistently growing your online followers so you're not talking to the same people over and over. Okay, just as looking at some of the most common goals, increasing brand awareness is a big one. Sales and lead generation, of course, is another one. Again, it's kind of all across the board. And I know everyone on the call today, we're going to be different. Some of you will need to just focus on sales and lead generation. Others, you're newer in town. We want to just do brand awareness. And so think about your goal as we're going through a variety of different examples today. And when we are talking about goals, hopefully you've all heard of this, but if not, a SMART goal. SMART goal stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. This helps you develop a tangible goal that you can work towards. So let's say our goal is to increase our followers by 20% by the end of 2024. Okay, now we're getting a little more specific. It's attainable, it's measurable, it's time-based. And so if you do report to like a board of directors or marketing director or the CEO of your company, utilizing SMART goals for marketing is great when you are working on forecasting and planning out your strategies for the year. So certainly Google this if you're interested in learning more. I've talked about SMART goals in some of my other webinars, but take some time to do a little research, and then what are maybe some SMART goals that you can develop for yourself or your social media accounts. All right, let's talk about some of the essentials when it comes to optimizing your social media accounts. And the first thing that I always do is to perform an account audit. A lot of times we've set up our social media accounts years and years and years ago, or maybe you had someone else on your team set it up years and years and years ago. It's very easy, very similar to a website, to set it and then walk away, kind of forget about it. And while you're in maybe your social media accounts, looking at what your competitors are doing, or just kind of scrolling through Facebook or making posts, how many of you have actually just been to the front end of your Facebook page and reviewed your bio, looked at some of your photos? Do an account audit. Look at your account bios, start there. Review your current account bio to ensure it's accurate reflection of your brand. Aim to sound natural, and in just a couple of sentences, be clear about what your business is and what it does. Let your brand tone shine. So again, I've been to some social media accounts for brands and companies where there were some inconsistencies among what they're saying on their website, what they're saying on their Facebook page, and what they're saying on their Instagram page. All different, right? Work to tighten that up. Instagram, it's a little shorter, but you do have the ability to add some emojis to be a little more casual on that platform. Facebook, you have I think a longer character limit to add an account bio, but especially for Instagram, account bios are really important, right? Because if someone stumbles across your content online, and I do this all the time, hey, what is this company? I go to their Instagram page, and the first thing I do is read their bio. So it's really important to make sure you have that tight and consistent. Making sure that you do have a profile picture that is consistent across all platforms. A lot of times I've seen some companies where they use a logo that's not sized correctly for that square. It almost goes past that square, or they use a photo of themselves or not their logo. Use your brand identity system, right? So your logo that fits well within that square frame, and use the same across all social media platforms. Of course, we want to make sure that you are adding your website link, and it's the correct link. You don't want any broken URLs. At the same time, if you are, let's say, pushing your blog, maybe that's one of your strategies, is to become more of an industry expert in your field. You're blogging more in 2024. Maybe that was an earlier goal from this year. Instead of sending people directly to your homepage, send them maybe to your blog. Or if you're an e-commerce store, send them directly into the e-commerce portion of your website, not just the homepage. So where do you want to send people to? I want to talk about, there was a change that was made on Instagram. So for those who have an Instagram for Business account, you're well aware that you can't put a hyperlink within the caption of your Instagram post. There was a massive push for this for marketers during the pandemic, so we can communicate with customers a lot better, but they still won't do it. I don't really know why. There are two ways to go around this when we are thinking of Instagram, because again, Instagram is a great platform. You could do stories, you could do reels, photo-based, you could do carousel with multiple photos, videos, right? Really engaging, high visual platform. But we can also add a good amount of copy, right? The caption for that post, some hashtags, some emoji. The one thing we can't do is put a link in the bio. in that caption. Or I'm sorry, we can't put a link in the caption. You can put a link in the bio, but not in the caption. We want people to do something for the most part, right? We don't need to encourage them to call or visit our website for every single post that we put out. But every once in a while, adding what we call that CTA, your call to action in the caption, super helpful. How do we go about that? One is Linktree. Linktree is a really cool third-party provider where you could do a branded, if you look at the screenshot on the right-hand side, lower right-hand side, it's almost like a branded little menu of different hyperlinks that will take a user out to a certain section of your website. Maybe you have a YouTube channel, and then you have your website, and then you have I don't know, some other platform you want to send people to. You could do all that within Linktree. Before Linktree, you could only put one URL within the caption, or I'm sorry, within the bio of your Instagram page. Now, one of the recent updates is that, and this is what a lot of people have missed. So if you have different links that you want to send people to on your website, you can do it without doing Linktree. You can do it directly in Instagram. So you'll see for our Instagram page, we have 3 links in ours. So if I was to go to the front end of the page and I click that little link icon, you'll see that in that faded out section next to claninmarketing.com. If I was to click that, and you'll see and 2 more, it opens up this window on the bottom that says claninmarketing.com, work or careers, okay? When I go in to edit my profile, and you'll see edit profile in that faded out section, this is where you can control what links you want to add to this. So if you have a blog section and an online store and a YouTube channel or whatever page you want to add, this is where you can add it right here within edit profile. So this is a really cool way if you are trying to maybe point people to different sections of your website. If you are sharing multiple different types of content on your Instagram page, maybe you are discussing here are 5 tips, 5 gardening tips from our greenhouse nursery for you this summer. And then you have another post where it's, hey, we're selling t-shirts, come out and do this. And then a third post, we have this event coming up, go to our event page to RSVP. Within just a span of 3 pieces of content, those are almost 3 different sections of your website, a blog, a store, and then an event page. And so those could all be 3 different links within this menu that you could add. So really cool thing. Everyone should have access to this now. This is a newer feature that a lot of people have missed, but it's really important to go through and add the links that are relevant to what your goal and what your business is doing. What's great, certainly what I recommend is when you are trying to encourage someone to go to a certain link in a caption, just say, click the link in our bio, right? Some people will try to still paste a URL within the caption, or it will be converted, it's connected to Facebook, so whatever they post to Facebook is posted to Instagram, and then that link comes through. It doesn't work, right? So what's the point of putting it in there? No one's going to try to, remember that and put that in. Just say link in bio, and one click they'll certainly get there. Okay, and the other one I want you to look at, how much traffic has my website received from social media? This is going to help you evaluate how successful some of your social media strategies are. Now, a lot of you may be on third-party website platforms like Squarespace or Wix or GoDaddy, and a lot of those platforms have built-in metric reporting systems that you can see where people are coming from, what traffic that is being generated to your website. But Google Analytics, specifically Google Analytics 4, is a free tool that you can install on the back end of your website. And what's great is that you can look to see how people are interacting with your website and where people came from. So if part of your job as a marketer is to be reporting on, hey, how is Instagram or how is Facebook helping us with sales and marketing? Google Analytics is a great platform to start. So you'll see on the right-hand side during this time, we had 628 sessions to our website from Facebook, 179 from LinkedIn. So just imagine if we weren't doing anything on social media, if we were pretty quiet on social media, we may be losing out on a lot of traffic to our website. So this could really help bridge that metric gap and help you make informed decisions on gosh, we're spending a lot of time on this platform. We're not generating a whole lot. We really need to switch gears so we are generating something. And again, this would be the goal of generating website traffic, right? So Google Analytics, again, free, great platform. Hashtags, this is where you can, on the back end of your Instagram page, under your insights, through your phone, you can look to see what hashtags are being used. Relevant hashtags in your profile. So hashtags is a great way, specifically on Instagram. While you can do hashtags on Facebook, it's not really recommended. It never really took off. But hashtags on Instagram is still a great way for you to get in front of new people. I'm kind of considering a few different little minor renovations around my home. So I'm starting to look at certain hashtags relevant to what I'm looking for. And I might find an interior designer or maybe even a local contractor that's done some work that I can, hey, wow, this is some great work they've done. Maybe I'll end up contacting them. So hashtags are great. Existing metrics, of course, when you are auditing your accounts, look at your existing metrics. A lot of people kind of miss this. I'm going to show you some screenshots when you are looking at some existing metrics and what they mean and how they can help you. But again, data informs decisions. And so while you may be looking at the front end of your Facebook page and thinking, oh, we're not getting a whole lot of comments on this. Like, what should we be doing differently? Let's take a pause for a minute, look at maybe past content from the past 90 days and evaluate what's standing out more to people. And again, I'll show you that here in a second. Cross-market your social media accounts. Do you have your social media links on your website, in your header, in your footer? What about in your email signature? Maybe you're emailing people all the time. Do you have those in there? A customer newsletter. Every once in a while, it would be good to have a strip section in the middle of your newsletter, just encouraging people and reminding them, hey, if you don't follow us on Instagram, you're missing out, right? So that's quick and easy at no cost. Make sure you're cross-marketing your platforms on these sites. Okay, down here, on the back end of your Facebook page, in Facebook Business Manager, you have a tab called Facebook Insights. There's so much data that you can pull in Facebook Insights. You can look at your demographics, how many males versus females follow your page, the age breakdown of those individuals, and then most importantly, the one that I love looking at is content. And so when I've audited accounts for other people before, this is the first place that I go, is that you can run a report to look at content over the past 30, 60, 90 days. And then this is where it gets interesting. You can see how many people that post reached. So this flower one that we have here that we just posted last week reached 529 people. Engagement, so engagement means likes, comments, shares, okay? 45, so that's pretty good. We did not put any money behind this, behind this post. This is what we call just an organic piece of content. So this did very well for a non-boosted, non-paid post. This is where you can start going through, doing a little self-audit in your metrics and identifying what is standing out to people. One thing that we noticed last year, anytime we posted photos of our team or behind the scenes, engagement went up by a minimum of 25%. So then you can start putting pieces of a puzzle together and determining what's our strategy mix? What should we be doing to lean into what people are really wanting to see on our Facebook page? What are people really responding to? So again, all this can be found under your Facebook Insights. And then on the back end of your Instagram account, this is through your mobile Instagram app. Again, you're going to go to, if you're taking notes, let me walk you step by step here. Let me get my Instagram account pulled up. You're going to go to your Instagram page. You're going to click the three lines up at the top. We call that the hamburger button. And then you're going to get into a page called Settings and Activities. In Settings and Activities, you're going to go to Insights. This is where you're going to get a lot of the information that you see in front of you here. Quick note, and we're going to review this during our Instagram 101 class. You only have access to this if your account is set up as a professional account, like a business account on Instagram. That came out a number of years ago. I think most of us are probably on a professional business account for our business page on Instagram. But if you're not, you won't have access to insights. You won't have the ability to add a phone number link, email link, a call to action button on your profile. So make sure you do have a professional profile. But in here, you can see what's happening over the past X amount of days. Are you starting to increase some of your engagement, increase some of your followers? So again, if some of your goals are to increase followers and you have a SMART goal of a certain number by a certain date, this is where you can go ahead and start evaluating all that. I can also look at the content I've shared. And if you look on the right-hand side, that gray little bubble at the bottom, this tells you how many accounts that piece of content reached. Now, we did not boost any of these. We did not put any money behind any of these. But you'll see the number of accounts that we reached. Now, some of those, like if you look at the second row far left, it looks like 2 sliding doors that we're walking into. That one only reached 85 people, but that piece of content was shared to our story. You'll see that kind of grayed out background there. So 85 people viewed that story, but that was actually all we were doing there was sharing a reel. That reel was actually, let me pull it up, played 645 times. And so there is a little bit of a difference between accounts reached and then like play views. In this case, what we're seeing here, that was posted to our story. So what am I trying to say with all this? Keep an eye on your metrics. This is going to help you bridge that metric gap, put pieces of the puzzle together to identify what's really standing out to our viewers online and what can we lean into more. So again, all this is under your Instagram insights. Okay, let's segue over to copy and content. This is really important, right? Because online, we're just bombarded with so much information, right? We're getting an ad from Dick's Sporting Goods. We're seeing a post from our great aunt and our neighbor, and then we're getting something from a page we didn't even know we followed, right? We're just being bombarded with so much. How do we get people to stop when they're scrolling through and drop their thumb? One of the things I certainly recommend, take screenshots, save a post that you find yourself stopping on. Is it there? Great photography, really cool captions, hashtags, emojis that caught your eye. It could be a variety of those things. But start saving like a little inspiration library of pieces of content creative that make you stop and drop your thumb. But let's talk about content and copy here for a little bit. Okay, one, you really need to know your audience. If you look at our webinar schedule coming up, Jordan and I actually do have a workshop all about audience identification, because this is really key when we are talking about digital content. You don't want to post just to post, right? If you're doing that, you're doing it wrong. You need to go into it with strategy and you need to think about what's my creative, but most importantly, what am I going to say and how does this resonate with the people I'm looking to reach? What problem am I looking to solve for those individuals? So, let me go back. So when I mentioned earlier about the breakdown, this is that breakdown I was talking about. On the back end of your Facebook Insights, you have the breakdown of women versus men. You'll see on our page, for example, we have about 67% of our fans are women. Majority of those are between the ages of 25 and 34. So again, what do I do with this data? It all really depends on your business and your goals, but we can maybe start leaning a little more into some of these, okay? Let's talk about tips for creating valuable and engaging content. Because again, if you can spark conversations and spark more engagement, you're going to get in front of more people organically without having to pay. So ask engaging questions. I know sometimes one of the worst things is you're really excited about a post and you ask a question and it's crickets. No one responds. Tag me, I'll respond. But that's always disheartening, right? It's okay. It happens to all of us, but you want to make sure it's maybe a great question. It's relevant to maybe, of course, whatever you're posting. And just see, again, if people start commenting or, hey, tag the person that blank, 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 maybe some people will start tagging others, but you want to get people engaged and active on your post. Make your content visually stimulating. How do we do this? Great photography and great creative, okay? So one thing on photography, and if you've been in my workshops, you've heard this before. Try to use your own photography when possible. Everybody, every business has a story to tell. There's photos that we can take, okay? So if you have some money set aside, work with a local photographer to do your own custom stock photography. Consistent, tight headshots, shots of the outside of your business, you behind the scenes doing something, meeting with clients, meeting with team members, packaging something up. There's a visual story that we can tell through great photography that stock photos can't tell, right? Stock photos are going to look very generic, but I understand that everyone has the funds right away to take their own custom stock photography. If you need stock just to get maybe some high quality photos out there, don't go to Google and just pull images off Google Images and put them on your website or use them for social media. Those can be reverse traced, and then you may get a letter from an attorney. I've seen it happen before. Use programs like Shutterstock or Adobe Stock. Those are paid stock photography sites, or Pexels, Pexels.com, or Unsplash, unsplash.com. Those two sites are commercial license-free stock libraries. So if you struggle with photography to use for social media posts or your website, and right now you just either don't have the time or funds to hire a photographer, at least get those because you don't have to worry about licensing, but try to take your own. And then Canva. Canva is a great platform where you can create your own branded content in minutes. Before, you had to work with a graphic designer to design a lot of really nice eye-catching pieces of content. Canva is a template-based plug-and-play platform. Jordan and I also have a webinar about this coming up. So if you've struggled with Canva, or if you've heard about it and never used it, certainly check out our Canva workshop. This is going to make your content stand out online. Okay, good photos, good creative, and you'll see what ends up standing out a little bit more and people start engaging with. Don't be too quick to start selling. What do I mean by this, right? I need to sell to keep my business afloat, and I certainly get that. But you don't want post after post to be shop now, visit the website, call now, stop in today, right? Give it some breathing room, and maybe between that, show process, show people. Maybe you're a boutique and you're going to the big Texas market to buy all of your clothing. That whole trip, that whole buying trip is a whole story that you can share, right? From the airport to asking questions, a poll question to your followers. What would you like to see? What would you like us to keep an eye out for when we're at the market and buying for our boutique? We're not selling it all. We're showing you behind the scenes. We're showing you a little peek behind the curtain, and you're part of this brand. People want to feel like they're part of something. And that's what then they turn into brand advocates. So again, don't be too quick to start selling because people start tuning you out if you're just constantly selling left and right. Craft attracting headlines. If you struggle with copy, there's some great AI, artificial intelligence platforms out there now that can help you, where you can talk a little, tell the AI platform a little bit about your business, who you're looking to target, give it prompts, and then say, can you come up with some copy for me, some copy suggestions, some headline suggestions for social media. So if you struggle with that, maybe use one of those platforms. Focus on the relationship between you and the future customer. So how can your product, how can your service help solve a problem that they have? So when we're advertising on social media, we're getting in front of someone who may have the potential for your product or service, right? Whereas when you advertise on Google, they are literally searching for something you have to offer. Facebook, we want to plant that seed of, we can help you. This is why people love us. This is why our food is incredible. Look at these testimonials, right? So really try to focus on how can we speak directly to the person that we need to get in front of. And give something away for free if possible. Is it a PDF download, a product sample, educational content, a shop and sip event? Get people in, get them engaged, make them feel like they're part of something, and they're going to end up buying something from you. Of course, it's really important to make sure you identify your story. Like I said earlier, every business has a story to tell. I truly believe that. And I've met a number of businesses over the years where they just feel like, oh, no one really cares. Like we're just this average business of XYZ. But really, when you start thinking, well, why did you start the business? What drives you? What are you passionate about? What's your business's mission statement, vision statement? Why do you exist and why do you do it better than your competitors? A story starts to come to the surface. So what makes you unique? How is your brand different from your competitors? What are your differentiators and what are your customers saying about you? Lean into that with all of your messaging and all of your creative. Why do you do what you do? Again, what I said, why did you start your business? What drives your team? All these could be stories. So instead of just like, let's say on your website, you have a team bio that maybe every once in a while on social media, you share a team member and a little bit of little bio. Of course, you can, for a bio, you can talk about their background, but maybe lean into, here's how I can help you. Here's what I love doing and how I can help you with X, Y, and Z. And then what kind of story do you want to tell? Is it how you got started? Is it, here's how we help so-and-so? Is it, we craft our products only using these materials and here's why? Um, Again, what kind of story do you want to tell? And how do you want your audience to feel or react when they view and read it? For Instagram, it's great and okay to talk about some of the struggles if this makes sense for your brand, right? You don't want a bank to have a loan officer being like, "Ooh, I struggled with that loan," right? Like, no, you probably shouldn't talk about that, right? But if you're a smaller boutique and maybe you want to share a little bit behind the scenes of failures and wins, that's okay. I mean, I've met a number of businesses where they are very transparent on their Instagram page and through their story, and you feel a connection with that brand without even really knowing them. And that's what's great about storytelling online. Um, Foster community and collaboration. Use a situation or experience that others can relate to and say, me too. One that I love, the drive-in theater that's around this area, the Harvest Moon Drive-In. They do some great social media posts where sometimes they just ask a question of, um, who played the best character in a movie? Only respond with memes. And it was so fun seeing all the different memes that people were posting. And they were all chiming into this conversation about great actors and movies that people don't forget about. And it all makes sense, right, for a drive-in to mention that. And they're sparking engagement, they're sparking conversations online. Again, when you more and more hot pieces of content that you're posting and getting a lot of engagement, there's a really good chance in the future that Facebook's going to keep your content rolling and shown to more people and it's on Instagram if they see that, wow, historically, they typically get a lot of engagement. Okay, we have about 15 minutes left, surprisingly. Um, I'm going to zip through the next couple slides here, and then of course I want to make sure we save some time at the end for Q&A. I want to make sure when, again, this is all about a balance. When you are creating social media content, you don't want to put call to actions in every post you do, but it is important every once in a while to make sure that you are adding in a call to action. So if you look at like the literary in downtown Champaign, join us every Saturday for children's story time. And then they have a little event with a date. You can click if you're interested. It's a little more of a passive call to action. We're not saying, hey, sign up, but you'll see for Eureka Family Dental, call us today to schedule your child's dental visit. I probably would have added the phone number right after that, but we are encouraging people, hey, call us, and they're pairing it with a cute photo of a patient during his first dental visit. How fun is that? Harvest Market in Champaign, will you be celebrating a special day soon? Stop by or call our bakery for any special orders. I love this because it's very simple. They're just showing a variety of different photos of cakes that they do, from a cupcake, two-tier, a round, and a rectangle cake here, along with their phone number. Super easy call to action, but again, you don't need to put call in every single post, okay? I'm going to skip through the sequenced call to action, but it's that same concept where you don't want to just start out the gate with call us, right? You want to get people to know you a little bit more and your brand and what you stand for. And then when the time is right, that's when you'll go in with that call to action. So that's really what those slides were about. Here's some other tips for writing social media copy, again, to optimize your accounts. And take a quick drink of water. My voice is starting to go. All right. So here's some tips. Encourage your audience to join the conversation. Hey, tell us your ideas. Sound off in the comments. What are you excited about? Leverage the desire to learn. So share industry news, sharing your blog, sharing industry statistics. Again, if you're one that you're really trying to set yourself up as an industry in your field, be on top of what's happening in the industry, right? Set yourself up as an expert. Write copy that leverages FOMO, fear of missing out, urgency, scarcity, limited time offers. This expires Friday. Call us now. Limited spots available, right? That all plays into that FOMO a little bit. And then elevate images with emotional copy. Again, if you struggle with copy, artificial intelligence, incredible. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about stories, okay? So for those of you unaware, stories have been out for a while. It's a piece of content that you post to your Facebook page, you post to your Instagram page, or I guess your story, and after 24 hours, it goes away, right? This is just to kind of show a little peek behind the business, little snippet of a story that then goes away. Now, if you want to save something, let's say if you're a bakery and you're sharing a story about some cupcakes that just you just completed decorating. And then a couple days later, you share a story of a wedding cake that you just got done decorating. You could then save those in your Instagram highlights. Again, we'll talk about this in August. Your highlights are almost like folders where you can organize stories by categories. And then those stories kind of live on into your highlights. But stories, again, I feel like more people are watching stories sometime or engaging with stories than actual posts that you're posting. You can ask questions in stories, you can run polls, you can just share a piece of content or a short video in stories. You can do a lot. I want to give a couple little tips when it comes to stories. Of course, engaging with your viewers, save stories to your highlights, which we're talking about, prepare content ahead of time. So for example, I know weeks out, if we have a meeting or if we're going to a conference or if we're doing something in the community, before I arrive, I start thinking, how can I turn this into some type of content or story or reel for our business page? Okay, I've thought about it. I think this would be good. What are the quick little shots that I need to get? And again, we're not talking you need to have your phone out the entire time and recording this whole event. We're talking short snippets of things that you can quickly post to your story or edit together in a reel. Again, you'll see all this really come together in November during our Instagram Reels demonstration, but try to prepare ahead of time. Think about where you're going. Think about maybe what you're doing. You have maybe some mechanics. You own a mechanic shop and you have some mechanics and you know this really cool classic car is coming in, or you're doing a really cool wrap or car detail on this incredible car that's coming in on Friday. Is that great content that you can shoot some stories and reels around? So always plan ahead. These are some, let me get back. These are some of those engaging kind of stickers and polls. So you can ask a question. You can do a little sliding bar. We, every once in a while around the holidays, we'll run like a little game in our stories. So it's like, guess the movie, guess the Halloween movie, just using these emojis, right? So we'll use little emojis to, okay, this movie is Scream, or this movie is Hocus Pocus. And then we'll just use those emojis, and it's really fun to see what people guess, and then we can share those response. Their names don't come with the response, but it's fun to kind of see, oh, people are engaging with this, maybe I should engage with this as well. Those highlights that I talked about, those are there with that blue arrow, those pink little round circles. If you want to categorize pieces of content from your story into almost like folders that people can look through, those are called your Instagram highlights. Photos, really what we talked about earlier, super important, right? So I really just want to give you some tips for great photos. Consider a tripod or mount for your phone. I don't think I have it on me on my desk, but I have what's called a gimbal. Certainly look that up on Amazon. They come in all different sizes and price range. This helps control maybe shakiness on your phone. It just attaches and it's kind of motorized. And so it will really help stabilize your phone if you are doing a lot of Facebook or Instagram lives, videos. But you don't have to get that fancy with the gimbal. You could just use a little tripod, put it on the table. You want stability. You don't want it to look too rocky. Use a camera on the back of your phone, not the one on the front if possible. The camera on the back of your phone is just a lot higher resolution. Pay attention to lighting, find natural light, take advantage of the golden hour around that, what, 3:30, 4-ish o'clock in the afternoon, 4:30 in the afternoon. Beautiful light that comes in. Play with camera angles, enable the grid lines on your phone so you can kind of space everything accordingly. Try to avoid manual zoom. So if you are further back and you do try to zoom, you already start cutting the resolution. Just kind of step closer to the subject. You can certainly edit, right? Editing some of the colors, but don't overdo it, right? You don't, what's great with social media anymore is that I think with the wave of popularity in short format videos on Instagram and on TikTok, you don't have to be overly polished, which is great, right? It helps save some money. But at the same time, you don't want anything to look too unprofessional or too dull. So certainly maybe add some filters, adjust in the lighting, clip the video a little bit, but you, again, you're not a video production studio. You're not needing to create a documentary style video that's super polished. People want something real from brands, and that's why we're seeing a lot of that when it comes to short format videos. These are just some shots that we took back in the day around our office. Our own kind of little custom stock. These are a little more polished, and so we used a lot of these on our website at the time, just kind of give it a nice elevated look. These are some other ones from one of our clients, and they did all these themselves, right? But they took the time to go towards a window. They have a lot of natural light coming in. I love the bomb pop, right? Coming up with the fourth, and the little macaroons next to it, the same color palette, the cutaway of the bread and all the interior of the bread. I really want one of those cronuts. They're incredible. But again, this looks great. They're playing around with angles. If you look at the cronut photo top left, it's a great angle shot showing the great different lines. The Halloween cookies, so cute. I ordered those one year. They're incredible. Propped up a little bit, really fun. A little more elevated, but they're not overly polished, right? These are all things that you can certainly do on your phone because phone cameras and editing on your phone has really come a long way. Okay, we're going to skip through a couple little things here. We only have about 5 minutes left. But I want to zip through ad types real quick with you if you're taking some notes. Okay, there's a couple of newer ad types that came out a number of years ago. One is called Instant Experiences. This is a mobile only ad type. So if you have a lot to say, if you have a lot of images or little videos to share about a product or service, sometimes it's hard only posting one photo and a caption and then getting people to your website to read or sort through all these pages on your website. Instant Experiences is kind of a middle ground where they click the ad and then it gives them just a very simple tailored scrolling screen, almost like you're on a website, but you control what the gallery is, what the copy is, can add your call to action, and then you can send someone over to your website. It's almost a stopping point before your website. Really cool. Certainly look into Instagram Experiences. Reels, huge. Okay, so these short format videos are really popular now. Lean into these, use trending music, use good hashtags, be creative and stay on top of some of these trends. Again, we're going to dive really deep into this in November during our demonstration. Okay, quick things before we hand it over to Jordan for questions and answers. One thing I want to know, Facebook Blueprint, if you're looking to really elevate your strategies and learn more about some of the latest and greatest things out there, look into Facebook, or it's called Meta Blueprint. It has online training, videos, case studies, best practices for running incredible creative and ads on these platforms. I'm also going to include in here, if you want to download this for later, just some additional tips and quick little examples. So photography best practices, examples and ideas for writing copy, new advertising options, and then ways to engage with your audience. All right, so that's our crash course for optimizing your social media accounts. I know it's a lot, right? But it's as you can see, it's not really one thing that you could do, and all of a sudden now you have a lot of new followers. You have to make sure it's the perfect balance of a great brand. You have your set brand identity, understanding who you are as a brand, your differentiators, what makes you different, who your customer is, right? So that's all like phase one, getting all that figured out. And then you're going into what platform should I focus on? What's the story I'm looking to tell? What's my overall goal? What am I looking to do? Now, how do I create copy and creative to go along with all that? And then what is my schedule? What is my strategy to stay on top of trends, to stay on top of items that are relevant in the community and timely in the community? You can, of course, schedule things ahead of time, but you don't want to schedule everything. You want to be kind of in the moment at times. So you can see there's a lot to it. But if you take all these in consideration and really look at your social media pages, of course, evaluate your metrics, but look at your social media pages in the shoes of a potential customer. What would you change? What other photos would you add? How would you adjust your bios? So again, I really want to thank you for joining our webinar today. Hopefully you had some good takeaways in our webinar on ways to optimize your social media accounts. I'm going to hand it over to Jordan to see if we have any questions, and we'll go from there.
Great, thank you so much, Scott. Right now, the only question we have in the chat is one that I actually went ahead and dropped in the chat for them, but we just had someone ask if the links could be shared to the stock image sites, and so I did put
Great,
in the
thank
chat. If someone doesn't have the chat open, those are in there right now. So
Great.
I am going to reiterate, like Scott said, we have a lot of sessions coming up that are specific to different platforms. So I know he referenced a lot in today's session. So if you'd like to dive deeper into any of those, please feel free to join us. Our sessions are always offered at no cost, and we'd love to have you at any or all of them. And so I'm going to share our events calendar link in that follow-up email as well. So please feel free to register for any of those. We did go to a question, Scott, and it says, is there a particular gimbal you recommend?
I really like, let me look up the name of it real quick. So it's the brand, I don't know how to say it, but it's DJI. DJI is a pretty popular brand in the industry, and they make all different types of gimbals, different sizes and everything. But yeah, what's really cool is that you can control it. You can control the recording. There's like a little recording button on the gimbal that connects to your phone like through Bluetooth. There's little controls on it where you can maneuver the camera around. It's really fun to play with. It takes a little bit of practice, but it helps kind of stabilize your framing, and it doesn't, again, you don't want to overly polish, but it does take it up a step from just trying to do everything from just your hand.
And if you were in our Instagram Reels session earlier this year or plan to join us for our next one, I know Scott brought the gimbal last time. So if you want to see that before maybe investing in one or something like that, I'm sure he'll have it on hand again too.
Absolutely. And I will say, if you do come out to the library, certainly work with the librarian. They have a really cool space now at the Champaign Public Library called the Studio. I don't know if I think they may have gimbals there, but I know they have a lot of really cool equipment that you could check out and test, maybe before you buy. So again, I don't know if they have gimbals, but I know they have some really nice cameras. So if you're looking at maybe investing in a camera for your business, they should have some really nice equipment now at the studio that you can maybe test out and try.
Perfect. Well, we are all caught up on questions. I do want to reiterate for anyone who may have jumped on after my little spiel, you will get a follow-up email later today with a recording of today's session so you can revisit any of the information. And it will also have that link that Scott shared in the beginning where you can download a copy of the presentation to go back through those slides and check out any of that information. So thank you everyone for joining us today. And thank you so much, Scott, for presenting.
Yeah, thank you. And I hope to see you all at one of our next webinars or workshops. Have a good rest of your day and have a great 4th. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.